This is day 12 of Advent of Cyber, and the challenge is called Forensic McBlurry to the Rev SKU. The malicious document attached to the phishing email is confirmed to have been executed. Aside from the fact that the rogue connections were observed, we know little about what it does. Our in-house expert, Forensic McBlurry, confirmed that the malicious document spawned another suspicious binary. Pivoting from that, he dumped it from memory for this task to be further analyzed via malware analysis. So the learning objectives for this challenge are to learn the fundamentals of analyzing malware samples without relying on automated sandbox scanners, and to learn and understand typical malware behaviors and its importance in the incident investigation pipeline. So, key malware behaviors. Before touching the malware sample for this task, we need to briefly introduce common malware behaviors to have a good perspective on what to expect in handling malware samples. A prominent word in cybersecurity, malware, is software created to harm a computer or an entire network. Threat actors develop malware to achieve specific goals such as infiltrating networks, breaching sensitive data, or disruptive operational services. If you were to inspect several malware samples in the wild, a typical pattern arises, making analyzing other samples easier with experience. Knowing these common behaviors gives us an idea of what to look for on the defensive side, such as network connections. Malware tends to establish either external network connections or internal connections. External connections allow remote access or for downloading staged payloads from a threat actor's infrastructure. Meanwhile, internal connections allow for lateral movement, a technique used to extend access to other hosts or applications within the network. Registry key modifications. Malware typically uses registry keys to establish persistence, a technique used by threat actors to discreetly maintain long-term access to a system despite disruptions. A good example is registry run keys, which allows binaries to be automatically executed when a user logs in or the machine boots up. File manipulations. Malware also tends to be downloaded, one of the common reasons to establish network connections, or create new files needed for its file execution. Given this knowledge, we can expect the possible behavior of malware during an investigation. Dangers of analyzing malwares. Warning: handling a malware sample is dangerous. Always consider precautions while analyzing it. With this, here are some helpful tips when handling live malware. Always assume that malware samples will infect your device, hence executing it is not always the first and only step in analyzing it. Only run the malware sample in a controlled environment that prevents potential compromise of unwanted assets. It is always recommended to have your sandbox, which allows you to have a worry-free execution of malware samples. A sandbox is a controlled environment that mimics a legitimate end-user working environment. It gives analysts a safe environment to execute malware samples and learn the behavior. Lastly, having a ready sandbox prevents analysts from running malware samples in their workstations, which is highly dangerous and impracticable for the possibility of unwanted impact. In a typical setup, sandboxes also provide automated analysis at the disposal of security analysts to determine if a binary from a set of malware samples requires further manual investigation. For this task, you may start the attached Flare VM instance by clicking on the Start Machine button. So I'll do that now. So while it's loading, let's go over static and dynamic analysis. We've understood the prerequisites needed to handle the malware safely from the previous section. Now let's have a quick refresh on the two methods of malware analysis. Static analysis is a way of analyzing a malware sample without executing the code. This method mainly focuses on profiling the binary with its readable information, such as its properties, program float, and strings. Given the limitation of not executing it, sometimes this method gives insufficient information, which is why we resort to dynamic analysis. Dynamic analysis mainly focuses on understanding the malware by executing in a safe environment, such as a sandbox. By doing this, you'll see the malware live in action, its exact behavior, and how it impacts the environment. Okay, so profiling executables through static analysis. As discussed above, before popping the malware sample in desktop malware sample directory, let's conduct a static analysis for the mystery gift binary. So if we go to a malware sample, for this exercise we'll mainly use the following tools: Detect It Easy and CAPA. So for Detect It Easy, we can right click the sample and execute Detect It Easy. So let's do that. So right here, Detect It Easy. So this will give us information about the binary. So it wants us to view the strings that are within this executable. So strings are basically just plain text that is found within a binary executable. But I decided to look at the challenges here, and we can answer a few of these questions. So the architecture of the malware sample, you can see file type is P64, so we type 64-bit here. That's correct. So what is the packer used in the malware sample? So down here we can see it's using UPX packer, so type in UPX. And the next one is, what is the compiler used? Let's look at the hint for that. Okay, so that's the next section where we'll find out the compiler. So run kappa, which shows that the binary mostly hides its logic and analysis is defected due to a packer. So the way we run that is by going to command prompt down here, changing into the desktop malware directory. We then type kappa mystery gift. Okay, so the output here tells us that the sample is packed. So the purpose of packing a sample is to obfuscate the logic within an executable. So let's see what's next to do. Given the kappa output, we have discovered that the malware sample is packed. You may also have seen it in Detect It Easy, which we did. So now let's unpack the binary using UPX and reanalyze the binaries. So we can do UPX-D mystery gift. So the file has been unpacked, and we can see here we've got this mystery gift.viv. Actually, the .viv is cached results of the first kappa execution. So we unpacked the mystery gift and now it's there. So we can do kappa mystery gift. Actually, we need to delete the mystery gift.viv first. And now we do kappa mystery gift. Okay, well there's now quite a bit of output here. So first thing I see is this compiler with nim. Maybe that is the answer to the question that we're wanting to use. Nim. Okay, yep, so that was it. Okay, so deep dive into dynamic malware analysis. You may have observed that we cannot execute the binary after double clicking it, as its file extension is not .exe. Before renaming it and executing the binary, let's prepare the tool we need for analyzing it. It's called Procmon. Procmon, or Process Monitor, is a Windows tool that shows real-time registry, file system, and process thread activity. You can learn more about it in this room. You can learn more about it in this link, which is a Microsoft link to the Procmon website. You may access it via the taskbar. Before we continue, I'm curious if it has the MITRE info. How many MITRE attack techniques have been discovered attributed to the discovery tactic? Okay, yep, so right here, discovery, there's 2 tactics, so put 2 in. Okay, now we'll continue with Procmon. Okay, once opened, you'll be prompted by Process Monitor Filter, a feature that allows us to filter results logged by Procmon. In this case, we want to only focus on the events generated by mysterygift.exe. So let's set the condition process name is mysterygift.exe. So go here. Process name is mysterygift.exe. So we now need to rename the file to mysterygift.exe. They're telling us to use the move command, but you can just do this. Okay, so we're now ready to pop the malware, navigate to the malware sample folder, double click the binary, and observe the results generated by Procmon. Well, I just closed that folder, so let's go back to that. So we will double click it now. So it might be overwhelming at first, but let's utilize its functionality to only show the information we want. So let's see. Doesn't appear to be running yet. Okay, so the reason why there's no input here is because we're going to click the filters to now actually see what's going on. So these are all filters for different types of activity that a process may do. So let's continue. So with these filters, we will focus on the first 3, registry, file system, and network. So registry, file system, and network. So registry modification. First, we want to determine if any significant registry modifications are executed by the binary, which is one of the expected behaviors introduced in this task. To do this, unclick all filters and only show registry activity. So go back to just registry. Okay, so the results still give several results, so let's add a filter by refining all registry creation modifications. Remove the following operations by right-clicking an entry from the operation column and choose exclude. Okay, so exclude reg open key, exclude reg query value, exclude reg close key, and exclude reg query key. Okay, so we're now left with a few create keys. So you may observe that only one registry key has both reg create key and reg set key. This key is related to the persistence technique called registry run key modification. So that is this key, and it's commonly used by malware developers to install backdoors. So let's see what that question was. What is the registry key abused by the malware? Can we copy this directly? Yeah, we'll copy that. I think we need to remove the default. There we go. So let's continue. Actually, what is the value written on the registry key based on the previous question? So Which one is it? So this is the reg set value. Actually, let's see, we can probably just go to regedit. We can then paste in that location, and let's see what the value was. Okay, the value is this. So wishes.bat. So copy that and paste it here, and that's correct. So we're now looking at the two files created by the malware under C users. So we'll just go to files. We can probably just exclude some of these filters as well, operations, so we can just get a better view as to what's happening. So what are the name of the two files created by the malware under the C users administrator directory? So you can see there's a test.jpg there, and then, okay, it might be in here. Okay, wishes.bat. Okay, so what are the two domains wherein malware was initiated a network connection? So let's go to the network filter. So we can see here bestfestivalcompany.thm. And I think the next one is virustotal.com. Yep. So going back to strings inside the malware sample, what is the complete URL used to download the file hosted? Okay, well, let's go back to the file. We will go to detect it easy strings, and we'll filter for http:// and we can see there, although that doesn't look like the whole URL. Well, let's just type that in. Okay, that's not the full URL. I mean, I wouldn't think it would be /favicon.ico. Okay, it is. I think it's just named the file that to disguise it, because my first thought when I saw /favicon.ico was just that it was just an icon file like when you visit a website, but probably disguises that to trick me like I did then. Okay, so if you enjoy this malware analysis, there's 2 other rooms that you can do next and try hack me. But other than that, that is day 12 of Advent of Cyber completed, so if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe.